Here we are then for round number 2 at Redlodge, 25th of April in the fine spring summer weather. And our venue for this round is the brilliant Redlodge Circuit. We are just over the Cambridgeshire Suffolk border, not too far from Mildenhall and the famous American Air Base. 1200 metre circuit, 11 turns, quite a technical track and very flat as well, not much elevation, so it's flat and very twisty in places. We have some perfect spring weather here, sunny forecast throughout the day, no rain forecast in the meteorological forecast, about 14 degrees and a light breeze. You would say this is pretty much perfect conditions for racing. In association with OMG Racing, it's the Mini GP 190 and 70 incorporating the Bucci Cup, and we'll look at how they line up in just a few moments. So Kyle Ryde in first position ahead of Pete Hickman, James Mostiger third, James Allingham fourth, Daniel Goodman and Mason Foster fifth and sixth position. Seventh place for Kobe Perry, Reece Stevenson straight back onto the line in eighth place from Sullivan Mounsey, Tom Lewis, Charlie Huntingford and Zach Weston in 12th position. 13th for Callum Ricketts, Dougie Craven in 14th place, Dominic Ped, Tim Patterson 16th position, Dominic Evola and Simon Bogg in 18th place. 19th for Jack Knights, and at the moment we believe maybe a non-starter Luke Schofield at the back of the field. So here we go with the Mini GP 11970 Cup. Well, this is incorporating the Bucci Cup as well. They're about to get underway. Last few riders making their way into the waiting zone now. They'll be out on track very shortly. So I believe that, as we saw on the grid a few moments ago, Pete Hickman taking part in this race. I don't believe he's scoring for points in terms of the championship here as a guest rider. Of course, he's the man behind O'Varley in the UK that we'll be seeing a little bit later on in the next couple of races. Not too sure of the schedule yet, but I believe he may possibly be speaking to Pete Hickman a bit later on as well. And here we go then with these brilliant looking bikes though, aren't they? These junior Mini GP machines. Real mixture of riders here, of course, mixture of ability levels, and we look forward to this race getting underway in a few moments. Last few riders getting onto the track now. So, of course, the winner of the previous race, Reece Stevenson, jumping off one bike and onto another as he gets straight back underway. It was a tricky thing, of course, when you do a consecutive race like this. If you're doing a double entry in different race classes, you've got the fitness aspect, but sometimes more than outweighed by the fact they've already been onto the track straight away compared to your rivals. You get the chance to have a look at the track, look at the line, so by the time you get into this second race in succession, you're nicely dialed into the track, you're nicely warmed up, so sometimes it can be a benefit sometimes to have two races in succession like this. And just like in full-size motorcycle racing with the mini bikes, it's relatively short motos, but they really are fast and frantic, and physical and fitness is very important. The riders doing a lot of training. Racing Mini GP 190 and 70 throughout the day here with the Rich Energy British Mini Bike Championship here at Redlodge in Suffolk. Riders about to get underway. I think there is one rider just with a bit of trouble at the back there, but I think they're ready to go. We're just looking at the starter now, just making sure the riders, machines are ready, riders are okay. So looks like we're happy now. The green flag goes up and race number one about to get underway. The flag drops and away they go. And there we see from the drone just how frantic the start is. Three-way tussle into the first corner. Kyle Ryde in there. Peter Hickman too with Reece Stevenson. And trouble further back, rider going down. One of the O'Varley machines gone down. That's in the midfield. Couldn't quite get the number, but the rider appears to be okay. looking to get back underway, albeit right at the back of the field. So battle underway at the front here with Kyle Ride. Pete Hickman, there is Hickman. And towards the final couple of corners they go, so here we go. Pete Hickman, of course, the British Superbike rider and lap record TT winner, fastest man around the Isle of Man TT circuit, of course. And he's got the youthful Rhys Stevenson to battle with him here. These two riders really did start to battle last year in 2020, and they really have got together a couple of times already in the past 12 months or so. Stevenson has a look down the inside of Hickman, who shuts the door quite firmly. He's certainly not giving anything away here, certainly not giving any favours to Stevenson. The rest of the top 10 still pretty close there as well. So with the association, of course, with MG Racing and this race class incorporating the R&G BucciMoto UK 190 GP Cup. Try saying that after a few drinks. This is incorporated into this class, and it allows the Bucci GP bikes, which I think, looking at Stevenson's machine there, I think that's one of the Bucci machines in there as well. It's a class within a class almost. R&G Products acting as one of the title sponsors of that class, with plenty of prizes up for grabs in there as well. As we focus on this battle for the lead, there is the Bucci machine. So two of the premier bikes in mini bike racing there. Bucci versus O'Varley, which is sitting at the front at the moment. Hickman looks like he's backing Stevenson into Kyle Ride at the moment. There's Ride in third, so we've got two professional British Superbike riders there, first and third. Pete Hickman and Kyle Ride, first and third place. Sandwiched, of course, there by Rhys Stevenson. Ride having a look down the inside of Stevenson there, but can't find a way through. Stevenson looks comfortable in such exalted company as Pete Hickman tries to pull away down the back straight. Let's have a look at the lines. Both those riders very aggressive on the inside, looking to get that exit time perfectly. Stevenson, of course, a younger rider, weighs a bit less. Perhaps that weight might be an advantage. Oh, as Stevenson goes down. We were just saying about the weight advantage, but Stevenson taking a mighty tumble. I think he's taken Hickman with him. And Hickman immediately goes over to check if he's all right. He just seemed to lose the front end there. But a nasty crash, and I think we've got a red flag. Yes, we have. So the race stops. Oh, so we were just talking about the weight advantage of Stevenson there, but didn't really pay off for him as he tried to get the exit speed out of the corner. And a hefty tumble for Rhys Stevenson. Let's hope he's all right. As I say, it looked like he went off the track and collected Pete Hickman when he went down. Hickman goes off as well, but Hickman's okay. He's up on his feet, and they've just gone to check if Rhys Stevenson's all right. His first thing was to go over. Medics are currently on the final corner checking if Stevenson's okay. And that's not the sight we like to see. And this was a great battle for the lead, which we'll look at in a bit more detail here. So Stevenson going to go down the inside of Hickman. Watch the front end, just gets a bit unsettled, bit of a tank slapper. Down he goes. Collects Hickman. There you see the bike tumbling away over the tyre barriers. Hickman's down as well. And there's Hickman up on his feet immediately to check if Stevenson's okay. But nasty tumble there for Stevenson, but I think that he's all right. Pete Hickman, he was definitely okay, because we saw him immediately on his feet to check if Stevenson was all right, and he's unscathed as well, albeit a little bit shaken, but rider's okay. They're not taking the restart, which means that the rider on the inside there, one of the BSB guests, of course, Kyle Ride, is on the inside line and resumes the race as the leader. The flag drops and away they go. So Kyle Ride leads from David Allingham, James Mosticker third. They charge into the first corner. So very much a straight fight here. O'Varley versus Bucci. Around the first few corners they go, and it's a good clean start. Everyone stays out of trouble. Into 180, that slow right-hander. Then they're back on the power down towards the Warren into the left-hander, and on the back straight they go. So let's have a look at the number 11 there. Allingham in second. Kyle Ride at the drop of the flag got a good start, and well, it looks like it was just before half distance when that race was halted. So it looks like we're going for a full restart. So Kyle Ryde with it all to do here, gets the jump on the flag. 7-lap restart this is. So this is the remainder of the race now being run, of course, and Kyle Ryde showing some of that British Superbike experience. Starting to pull away now as they make their way down towards 180. It's Allingham in second, Mostica third. Daniel Goodman fourth from Mason Foster, Kobe Perry, Sullivan Mounsey, Tom Lewis, Dominic Ped and Zach Weston rounding out the top 10. Callum Ricketts, Simon Bogg, Charlie Huntingford, Tim Patterson, Dominic Ebola and Jack Knights rounding out this 16-rider field. We have, of course, lost Rhys Stevenson and Pete Hickman. Those riders tumbling quite spectacularly a few moments ago. Initial reports are that both are okay, but not taking part in the restart. As Kyle Ryde pulling away now at the front, you can really see the pace he's carrying, that experience from British Superbikes. That pro pace, you would say, 46.12, the fastest lap of the race, so they really are motoring. Allingham second, Mostica third, Daniel Goodman fourth, Mason Foster rounding out the top 5. And there's the 57 of Daniel Goodman making his way through to the top corner. So Daniel Goodman in fourth place, Mason Foster and Kobe Perry rounding up that top 10. A little bit further behind there, we just saw Zach Weston and Callum Ricketts starting to battle as well. Kyle Ryde going faster yet again with a 45.67. Clear now of this battle of the second place, headed by the number 11 of David Allingham. And our attention at the moment is on the fourth place rider, Daniel Goodman, is coming under some real pressure from Foster. Oh, nice move out to the 180. Can he make that stick? It's all about the exit speed on these technical slow corners. And Foster now starting to put the pressure on. We've got Kobe Perry and Sullivan Mounsey in there as well. Down into the S's they go. And Goodman in fourth. Got to get that exit speed. Good line choice out of the corner. Very important indeed. Down they go towards the paddock corner. So Ryde crossing the line, Allingham second, Mostica third, and then we see the battle of a fourth. Look out for the number 88 here, Mason Foster, coasting down the inside into Senna. Nice little inside line there and takes the position. So Mason Foster, after all that effort, it's finally paid off. Down to, well, back into fourth place. Mason Foster does look a bit quicker at the moment, and sometimes catching up in racing is one thing, getting past can be another. And it was very important there for Foster to make that pass stick. We've still got 4 laps to go in this race. And we're going to look at the lap times very closely when they come back round here again, because it looks to me like Mason Foster, now clear in fourth place, really leaving Goodman behind. He's coming under pressure from Perry and Mounsey just behind. I'm going to watch Mason Foster's lap time when they cross the line. And, well, he's lapping at a 46.7, so I don't think he's going to be able to catch up with Mostica, but we shall wait and see. Zach Weston moving into 9th place just ahead of Callum Ricketts. Charlie Huntingford's up to 11. As we watch this battle, oh, again there we see Goodman really having to be brave here and guard those corners. Perry gets a good exit out of that off-cambered Warren corner into the back straight, into that straight run into the S's. Here they are in the S's now. The exit of this corner is very important to a very quick run down to the finish now. As Perry tries to go down the inside. And that Simpson straight, that demands respect. We just saw earlier, of course, it caught Rhys Stevenson out on that inside line. But that's a good overtaking opportunity, I would say. Goodman guarding the inside line through Senna, making their way down towards 180. This is where it gets tight and technical and a bit slower. Good line choice and good on the exit of the corner, very important. Here we go into the off-cambered left-hander through the Warren and along that back straight, the straight run into the S's now. Goodman's quick on the straight and allows himself to pull away from Perry. Sullivan Mounsey, Tom Lewis in there, Zach Weston on the 35, just a little bit further behind in 9th place. Kyle Ryde all on his own at the front, still lapping in the 45-second region as we go into the final lap. But all the action here further down as they go around the final corner. And it looks like Perry has finally got through after all that time. A lot of pressure, and it pays off as he moves through into 5th place. The 53. Black leathers there of the BucciMoto machine. Kobe Perry now into 5th place. Daniel Goodman 6th. Sullivan Mounsey and Tom Lewis just a little bit further behind, taking us down to 8th place. Kyle Ryde, meanwhile, all on his own at the front. Leads by 10 seconds from David Allingham and James Mostiker. Goodman having to play defensively. Oh, just stood the bike up a little bit on the inside there. That'll lose a bit of time. This could allow Mounsey and Lewis to close up down the back straight. Meanwhile, Kyle Ryde crosses the line as the race winner. 2nd place will be David Allingham, just ahead of James Mostiker. Mason Foster with a great ride through to 4th place, nearly paid off for him. Kobe Perry in 5th place, Daniel Goodman 6th, Sullivan Mounsey 7th, Tom Lewis in 8th position. And it looks like it's going to be Zach Weston, there he goes, in 9th, just ahead of Callum Ricketts and Charlie Huntingford. Dominic Peard a bit further behind. Jack Knight's running out the field in 16th, and Tim Patterson, Dominic Avola, and Simon Boggs should be our final riders through on the lead lap. So a dramatic OMG Racing and RMG Mini GP 190/70 group. Dramatic fall there with Rhys Stevenson and Pete Hickman. Both riders, I would say Hickman was just caught up in the incident. He was definitely okay, but I did see Rhys Stevenson from our vantage point standing up, so let's hope he's not badly hurt. We'll get an update as soon as possible. Mini GP 190s and 70s incorporating the Bucci Cup is about to get underway. We'll look at the grid in just a few moments. Headed by Kyle Ryde from David Allingham, James Mostiker 3rd, Mason Foster 4th, Kobe Perry in 5th place from Daniel Goodman in 6th position. 7th place for Sullivan Mounsey, Tom Lewis 8th, Zach Weston 9th from Callum Ricketts, Charlie Huntingford and Dominic Peard in 12th position. 13th for Tim Patterson from Dominic Avola, Simon Bogg in 15th place, Jack Knights, Peter Hickman in 17th, Rhys Stevenson further back in 18th. Both those riders DNSs possibly. Dougie Craven and Luke Schofield running up the field. So we'll wait for confirmation if Pete Hickman and Rhys Stevenson are indeed taking part. They had their collision in the first race earlier on. You can see Stevenson out there actually. Just looking to see if Hickman's out there too. Be nice to see Pete Hickman riding again after... I think he is out there actually, so that's good news. Looks like Stevenson and Hickman out, but starting further down the grid, that could make things interesting. They both DNF'd the first race earlier on, of course. And just to recap this this race, supported by OMG Racing and also incorporating the RNG BucciMoto UK 190 Mini GP Cup. And this is an incorporated for the Bucci machines. You'll see they've got the distinctive, most of the OEM Bucci bikes have got the distinctive red stripe with the company logo at the bottom. So they're the bikes to look out for, and they have their own championship within this class as well. And incorporating that for the Bucci GP riders. So 2 classes in one effectively. And this is a mixture of youth and adult riders in this one. Juniors age 12 to 15 years, the senior class 15 plus. And there's a separate category for junior and senior riders. It is ability based as well. The junior riders must be able to lap within a certain percentage of the leading group of riders. A whole mixture of bikes available in this one. It's including Predator, MER Mini GP. Mainly we see a lot of the Ovali and Bucci machines out there as they get underway. Mixture of 4 and 2-stroke machines. Now, one thing to look out for here, we've got 2 of the leading names in this race, Peter Hickman and Rhys Stevenson. Because of their incident in the previous race, they've got to start a bit further back. They both DNF'd the previous race, which means they're affected on points, and they've got a bit of work to do now as they fight their way through the field. This means that as the race gets underway, David Allingham leaves, James Mostiker in 2nd, Mason Foster in 3rd, Daniel Goodman 4th, from Kobe Perry, Sullivan Mounsey, Tom Lewis and Zach Weston, Charlie Huntingford and Callum Ricketts running up the top 10 as they make their way down towards the S's for the first time. This is a 12-lap final And David Allingham gets the jump on the field, tries to pull away in these early stages, making his way down towards the final corner, so Allingham leads. Daniel Goodman up to second on the 57, Mason Foster third, James Mostica in fourth, Tom Lewis, Sullivan Mounsey, Kobe Perry in 7th place, Charlie Huntingford, Peter Hickman up to 9th place, Reece Stevenson in 10th. Those two fighting through the field after starting at the back. Zach Weston drops to 11th place from Callum Ricketts. So David Allingham trying to pull away at the front. Daniel Goodman, of course, he spent so much of last year developing, building his skills and fighting his way now, of course, establishing himself as a lead rider. Battling towards the front, he's just been overtaken by Mason Foster, who moves into 2nd position. Dan Goodman, another one of those riders who's racing under the Vision Track MLAV Academy awning for 2021. Looking to make some of that experience count on the track. But the rider to look out for here is the 2nd place rider, Mason Foster, who set the fastest lap of the race, 47.14, and started to close up on David Allingham, the race leader. They make their way through the Warren and back towards the straight run now. Looking further down the field, there's Pete Hickman. He's up to 7th place. Having to work here as he fights his way through the top 10. That looks like the machine of Sullivan Mounsey just in front. Hickman going for the pass. Reece Stevenson in there too. So Allingham leads, Foster 2nd, Goodman 3rd. Over the line goes Mounsey, Lewis, Hickman, Perry, Stevenson and Huntingford running up the top 10. To the battle with Pete Hickman now, putting the pressure on, that's the machine of Tom Lewis. Still 9 laps to go. Allingham with that small gap over Mason Foster. They're making their way towards the S's section. There's Hickman putting the pressure on Lewis as they make their way through the S's. The leaders making their way down towards the final few corners. And Reece Stevenson starting to close up on Peter Hickman as well. So Hickman struggling to get past here. There go the leaders. David Allingham, your race leader, guards the inside line. Foster squaring the outside, goes wide into centre, trying to get the speed on the exit as they make their way down to 180. Goodman 3rd, Mostica in 4th. So at the moment, Hickman and Stevenson only getting as far as 6th place. It's all down to David Allingham and Mason Foster. Down the back straight they go. Foster really getting close now on the 88. Allingham guards the inside line into the S's. Reece Stevenson with the fastest lap of the race, 46.69 further back. And this race still pretty close actually. There's only, between the first few riders, only a few seconds separating the first handful of riders as the leaders make their way over the line. There's still 7 laps to go. This race is still wide open, but Allingham leads the way, guards the lead from Mason Foster in 2nd place. 3rd is still Daniel Goodman from James Mostica. As one rider hits trouble just coming out of centre. Oh, that's looks like Derva Lane, who was out before in the pit bike vets, a bit further down, so he gets back underway. The race goes on. Peter Hickman this time with the fastest lap of the race. It looks like he's made a move going into the S's. There's the 2 leaders, Allingham and Foster neck and neck. Goodman 3rd, Mostica 4th, Hickman now up to 5th place. So he's the fastest man on the Isle of Man TT. He's the fastest man round Redlodge today as well, with a 46.63 in this race class. But still no good for the lead as Allingham battles with Foster. Goodman 3rd, Hickman now into 4th place. These riders just behind the 2 leaders. Here they come out of centre. Hickman's into 3rd, he gets past Goodman. So Peter Hickman up to 3rd. Goodman drops to 4th position. Mostica, Mounsey and Stevenson all in there as well. There's Stevenson down the inside out of 180. Great move there from Reece Stevenson. These two, of course, they had to battle back from starting near the back of the grid after they both DNF'd the previous race, costing them valuable points. And Peter Hickman and Reece Stevenson fighting back strong, although Hickman, the experience paying off for him, getting through just a little bit quicker than Stevenson at the moment. As Reece Stevenson gets the door shot in his face by Daniel Goodman. David Allingham still leads. Foster 2nd, Hickman again with the fastest lap of the race, 46.5. as Stevenson goes down the inside of Daniel Goodman. That should put him in 4th place now. And this is shaping up to be quite a final here. We've still got 4.5 laps to go. Allingham still leads. Foster 2nd, Hickman 3rd, Goodman 4th. They're going up towards the S's now. There's Stevenson trying to pull away now from Daniel Goodman. And Sullivan Mounsey, the leaders, making their way down towards the final few corners, and it's all incredibly close. Into the final corner they go. As we look at Daniel Goodman, the leaders crossing the line, and it's getting close down to the first corner. Hickman putting the pressure on Foster for 2nd. Here they come into centre. So Allingham, number 11, still leads the race. Foster 2nd. We look for Hickman in 3rd. Is he still there? Bit of a gap. Through 180 they go. The leaders now making their way towards the off-cambered left-hander through the Warren up the straight run. Allingham still leads. Foster 2nd. 3.5 laps to go. The rest of the top 10 still very close as well. Hickman 3rd. Stevenson 4th. Goodman in 5th place. Sullivan Mounsey in 6th. Mostica, Perry, Charlie Huntingford and Tom Lewis rounding up the top 10. There's Hickman. Coming out of the S's now, trying to close up on the 2 race leaders. And I don't think he's giving any favours here. He's charging with all he can to get through up to the leaders. As Foster has a look down the inside of Allingham. Back marker moves to one side to let those 2 leaders through. There, we just saw him. Peter Hickman closing up on the 2 leaders as they close on the slower traffic through 180. Allingham still leads, pulls away now slightly from Foster, not by very much. It's still neck and neck for the lead. Hickman still closing in 3rd. Allingham, your race leader, trying to pull away now with 2.5 laps to go. Foster 2nd, Hickman up to 3rd place, Stevenson 4th. So Allingham still charging at the front on the Ovale machine, making his way through some of the tail enders. We've got Jack Knight and Simon Boggs just a bit further ahead. 2 laps to go when they cross the line. There they go. Allingham leads. Foster still right in there in 2nd. 7/10 of a second separating the top 2. Hickman closing up in 3rd. Really scything their way through the midfield. There's Hickman. Just lapping the slower rider. I think that's Simon Bogg, number 10. The race leader, Allingham, has to have a look. Oh, but of course the slow rider doesn't know it's the race leader. I think he'll realise now as he steals the line on the inside. And there we see some good cooperation from the back marker, just standing the bike up, letting the leaders go through. But oh, Hickman's gone through to 2nd. That was a good opportunity for him as he goes through to 2nd place. So Peter Hickman up to 2nd place. 1 lap to go. Can he do it? Hickman has gone all the way through to 2nd place from the back of the grid. And of course, Peter Hickman, Isle of Man TT champion, British Superbike rider, lap record holder on the Isle of Man. Closing up on David Allingham on this final lap. Can he do it with half a lap to go? I'm sure Allingham, who's led the entire race, will not give this lead up lightly. There's Hickman on his tail as they make their way through into the S's. Tightens in on itself. Hickman very quick through that slow part of the track. Back on the power. Down they come down the Simpson straight towards the final corner. And I'm sure Hickman not giving this one up lightly. He closes right onto the rear wheel of David Allingham. Round the final corner they go. And Allingham takes the checkered flag by half a second from Peter Hickman. Mason Foster 3rd. Rhys Stevenson in 4th place. Sullivan Mounsey takes 5th position. Daniel Goodman, James Mostiger 6th and 7th. Kobe Perry in 8th. With Charlie Huntingford in 9th and Tom Lewis crossing the line in 10th position. So a thrilling conclusion there with Peter Hickman hunting down David Allingham almost on the line, but not quite enough. David Allingham holds on to protect his lead and win the race by just under half a second. So a great conclusion there, some thrilling action right until the end of the race.